ONDC Meet, B2B Meet, Open Network for Digital E-Commerce. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯವಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರೀತಿಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. DVG ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ನೆನಪಾಗ್ತಿದೆ. ತನುವೇನು ಮನವೇನು ಪರಮಾಣು ಸಂಧಾನ, ತನುವೇನು ಮನವೇನು ಪರಮಾಣು ಸಂಧಾನ, ಕುಣಿಸುತ್ತಿಹುದು ಉಭಯವನು ಮೂರನೆಯದೊಂದು. ತೃಣದ ಹಸಿರಿನ ಹುಟ್ಟು, ತಾರೆ ಎಸೆಕದ ಗುಟ್ಟು, ದಣಿಯದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀ ಹರಸೋ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನವದೆತ್ತರದಲ್ಲಿ ತಾರೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನೆಲದ ಮೇಲೆ ಗರಿಕೆಗೆ ಹಸಿರು ಬಣ್ಣ ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಅದೆಲ್ಲದರ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ಗುಟ್ಟು, ಆ ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನ ಕಾಣುವಂತಹದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಉದ್ದೇಶವಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಲೇಡೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಜೆಂಟಲ್ಮೆನ್, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಯೋರ್ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈವ್ನಿಂಗ್, Anjali. I take this, my immense pleasure, indeed my privilege, to welcome each one of you to this fantastic event organized by SIDB and KASSIA ONDC Meet B2B Meet. They say the company of good people is like a shop of perfumes. The company of good people is like a shop of perfumes. Whether you buy it or not, it spreads its fragrance around. So thank you all wonderful people for coming here and spreading the fragrance around. A big round of applause for each one of you. Come on. ಇನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸುವಂತಹ ಸಮಯವಾಗಿದೆ. ತಮ್ಮ ಬಿಡುವಿಲ್ಲದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ಬಿಡು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಗಣ್ಯಾತಿ ಗಣ್ಯರು ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಲೇಡೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಜೆಂಟಲ್ಮೆನ್, we have with us dignitaries who have taken time out of their busy schedules and grace this occasion. With a huge round of applause, it's time to welcome the dignitaries on stage. We have with us Shri S. Raman, IA and AS CMD SIDB. So it's such a privilege to have you with us. A warm welcome to you. May I request Shri Satyaki Rastogi, General Manager and Regional Head, SIDB Bangalore Regional Office, to please escort Shri S. Raman on stage. Let's give our guest a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಇಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಶಶಿಧರ್ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ, ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ KASSIA, Shri M.G. Rajgopal, Vice President KASSIA. May I request Shri Shripati DGM SIDB to please escort the guest on stage. Warm welcome to you, Shashidhar Shetty sir and M.G. Rajgopal. May I request Shri Shripati DGM SIDB to please welcome the guest and join us on stage. Warm welcome to you. We also have with us, ladies and gentlemen, Shri Hari Shankar, Head Transformation ONDC. May I request Mr. Ulagiyan DGM SIDB to please escort the guest on stage. Let's give Shri Hari Shankar a huge round of applause. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. ನೋಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯ ಅದೆಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಸಹ ಆ ಭಗವಂತನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥಿಸಿ ದೀಪವನ್ನ ಬೆಳಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. May I request the dignitaries on the dais to please light the ceremonial lamp and mark a great beginning to today's evening. Shubham karoti kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadam. Shubham karoti kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadam. Shatru buddhi vinashaya deepajyotir namostute. दीपज्योति परब्रह्म, दीपज्योति जनार्दनः, दीपो में हरतु पापम, दीपज्योति नमोस्तुते. ಈ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಎನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಬೆಳಕು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಅಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನ ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸಿ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ಜ್ಞಾನದೆಡೆಗೆ ಆ ಭಗವಂತನೆಡೆಗೆ ಕೊಂಡೊಯ್ಲಿ. Let this light remove all the darkness and obstacles from our lives and take us all in the divine path of wisdom. Thank you, dignitaries, for lighting the ceremonial lamp and marking a great beginning to ONDC-MSME B2B Meet. Thank you. ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತಿಥಿ ದೇವೋಭವ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಯಾರೇ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವರನ್ನ ಭಾವಿಸೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡುವಿಲ್ಲದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅತಿಥಿಗಳು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮೈ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಸತ್ಯಕಿ ರಸ್ತೋಗಿ ಟು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಆನರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೆಲಿಸಿಟೇಟ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಎಸ್ ರಾಮನ್ IANAS CMD SIDBI. It's such a privilege, sir, to have you with us. Thank you so much for making time and gracing this occasion. Let's give him a huge round of applause. So in spite of his busy schedule, we have with us Sri Raman, who has graced this occasion and is here with us. Thank you so much. May now request Mr. Shripati, DGM SIDBI, to felicitate Shri Shashidhar Shetty, President KASSIA. So such a privilege, sir, to have you with us today. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Please accept this shawl planted memento as a token of love from us. May now request Mr. Ulagian, DGM SIDBI, to felicitate Mr. Rajagopal, Vice President KASSIA, who's graced this occasion. Warm welcome to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us this evening. May I request Mr. Lalit Kumar Mins, DGM SIDBI, Pina branch, to felicitate Shri Hari Shankar. So it's a privilege to have you with us. We're looking forward to hearing from you also this evening. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very phenomenal day. Internet and mobile phones, it's everywhere. Today we're fast marching towards a complete digital age, digital revolution, and everything is at the click of the button, right? Yene tagobekadru kuda now phone alli click martivi, order martivi, manege barutte. Adre is it reaching everybody? Is it reaching to the nth person? No, right? There's still so many people who are in need, in support. There's so many sellers, artisans in small towns who, for them, e-commerce is still out of reach. It's only for the big players. So, high commission rates agirbodu, athwa preferential treatments to own sellers, and lack of transparency in price fluctuation. These are all so many challenges that's being faced by the small sellers. ONDC, by Government of India, aims to create a level playing. They say, Yellarigu Samapalu, Yellarigu Samabalu anta. That's what the initiative is all about. By Government of India, aims to create a level playing field for all the players. ONDC is built upon decentralization, openness and user utility, transparency, discoverability for sellers and buyers. Today is such a phenomenal evening brought to you by SIDBI and KASSIA. They're playing a vital role in onboarding B2C artisans on ONDC platforms to enhance their market presence. And ladies and gentlemen, this is such a phenomenal opportunity for all the MSMEs, B2B space. And today we'll be learning more about what ONDC, or Open Network for Digital Commerce, is all about. So it's such a privilege again to have you all this evening. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಕೂಡ ಸಂಪನ್ನವಾಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಸಹ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಭಾಷಣ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. So let me now welcome Shri Satyaki Rastogi, General Manager and Regional Head, Bengaluru Regional Office, to welcome you all to this evening. Sir, welcome to you.
Ellavarigu Namaskara. Good evening, everybody. It's my privilege to be here, and I'm really thankful to all of you who have spared your Sunday, and probably one of important World Cup matches also, that's India South Africa, to have come here. So I won't take too much of time. I would take this opportunity to welcome our chairman, Shri S. Raman, who has been guiding light behind all the initiatives of the bank, and under his leadership the bank is scaling new heights every day. SIDBI has made a paradigm shift after Raman sir has taken over into 2021, and I am proud to say today's Government of India looks towards SIDBI as the major player for any development, for any initiative to be taken for MSME sector, and the credit for that totally goes to Raman sir. So I welcome you, sir, and thank you for having spared your time from your busy schedule. I know how hectic it has been for you and how hectic it is. So you've been traveling and you're traveling again. So thank you again, sir. I also welcome Shri Shashidhar Shetty, President KASSIA, and Shri Rajagopal, President-elect KASSIA, with the support of whom we are taking many pioneering initiatives in Karnataka for the betterment of MSMEs, and KASSIA and other industry associations in Karnataka. Every one of them have been playing a very major role, and we in SIDBI are very proud to be associated with them, and we would like to once again assure that SIDBI is there to help them, to seek their support, to seek their guidance, to do anything for the MSMEs in the state of Karnataka. I also welcome Shri Hari Shankar, Head Transformation ONDC, and Ms. Manila, Category Leader B2B ONDC. Together, they will walk us through the ONDC experience, which in my opinion is something very big, going already there, but going to be a very big thing in future, which is going to transform the way e-commerce is being done in the country. I also welcome all the delegates, our customers, industry leaders from the various associations who have come for the program despite today being a Sunday. I urge all the MSME participants to use this occasion to not only understand the ONDC initiative, but to also onboard onto the platform, which will be a force multiplier for their business in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. As I told you, today's evening is jointly organized by SIDBI and KASSIA. Small Industries Development Bank of India, as the principal development finance institution for MSME sector, has played a significant role in developing the financial ecosystem for MSME sector through various interventions, including refinance to banks, credit guarantee programs, development of the MFI sector, contribution to venture capitalists, among others. While KASSIA is one of the premier body of MSME associations based out of Karnataka with a membership of over 12,500, including 129 affiliated associations. And today, such a phenomenal evening that they've collaborated together and brought this awareness program on ONDC. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been hearing about ONDC. ONDC ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಪ್ರೆಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸಸ್ಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆದರೆ B2B ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸಸ್ಗೆ ONDC ಹೇಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? How does it help for B2B businesses? May I now request Mr. Hari Shankar to throw some light on today's evening and what ONDC is all about for B2B businesses. Sir.
Namaskara. Namaskara. Thank you for joining us today. As was mentioned, this is an important event and occasion for all of us, and I thank SIDBI and KASSIA for organizing this. I'll cover in about 5-10 minutes a little bit of an overview of ONDC, And then we have a more detailed session which we will walk through with some presentation and some use cases between my colleague Manila, who's here, and myself. We'll cover that, and then we also want to look forward to a rich interaction with you later today evening. As was mentioned, digital commerce, something all of us as consumers are well aware, right? And especially as urban consumers, we do a large part of our purchase on e-commerce, and especially in the last 3 years during the pandemic, e-commerce has grown a lot. But there is a deeper question as to one, what is the full potential of digital commerce, right? Because if you compare where we are compared to both developed countries as well as other developing countries, right? If you take where China is or where Southeast Asia is, clearly there is a big headroom. So there is a significant opportunity for e-commerce growth. But even more importantly, as e-commerce evolves, it is important that both on the producer and seller side, as well as on the consumer side, it is truly democratic and truly equitable. Otherwise, we will have expansion, but it is expansion which will take us in a different direction, which is not good for the country and the industry and for consumers, right? So it's important for us to grow e-commerce, but it is also important for us to grow e-commerce in an equitable manner. And if you look at actual numbers, what's happening in the developed world, where e-commerce obviously has grown a lot, there are challenges, one on the consumer side, because it starts with being addressed, focused more on the affluent consumer. So therefore it is the top of the pyramid. If you look at where e-commerce is today for us in India, overall as a percentage of total revenue or GDP, we are probably about 5-6%. So it's still very, very small. And that is more at the top of the pyramid. So clearly from a consumer side, there is a large part which is outside of e-commerce, which is not a good thing. But equally importantly, on the producer and the seller side, right, it is today largely done by 1 or 2 large platforms in each sector, right? And therefore, they have a significant power. And what it also means is that on the seller and the producer side, right, it is not really equitable, and it is not really focused on what small and medium sellers can do, what small and medium producers can do. And therefore, there is a huge opportunity for us to look at expansion of digital commerce, but in a much more equitable manner. And that is what is ONDC. ONDC is government sponsored. It is not owned by the government. It's a private, not-for-profit company, sponsored by the government, actively supported by the industry, right? With institutions like SIDBI and other development institutions, banks, they're all kind of contributed into ONDC. It is, like I said, sponsored by the government, but it's not a government entity. Because the government realizes that e-commerce is such a field, it requires a sponsorship, but actually it has to be done by the industry. In fact, today's forum, right, while we are calling it an orientation for on ONDC, I see it as much more than that, right? And when I look at the audience here, who are really captains in industry from the small and medium industries in this part of the country, there is a wealth of information, business knowledge and opportunity which is there with you and with SIDBI and with the wider membership of KASSIA. When we look at the ONDC opportunity for MSMEs, we have some archetypes and we have some success stories, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But we are at such a starting stage of this journey, right? This is something we would like to co-create along with you. And that is the power of a network. The power of a network is, it's not that we are coming with one solution and telling everybody, this is the solution, just sign up and start transacting. Of course, we want people to sign up quickly. But more importantly, we want to evolve the network along with you. So the real power of a network comes when we get in people who have a deep understanding of the category, of the industry, and they come in as participants. They come in as aggregators. They come in as support members in this journey. And together we are able to amplify the power of the network. Therefore, I really look at this and I would seek the help of everybody here, not just today in the interaction, but also going forward, with the help of SIDBI and KASSIA. So how do we continue this conversation so that together we are able to shape this network, right? It is not that we are the absolute experts. We are not the experts in your respective sectors. We have created a common framework of the network, which we will talk about. Network is like a pipe, right? It does a lot of good things. It can have a good frictionless velocity. It is a truly open network. It has got a protocol. It allows people to plug in. So that's what the network does. But the real value comes from what are we flowing through the network? How do we make sure that every entity which is transacting on the network, we are able to transform your business processes and help you discover more buyers, more sellers. Make sure that your transactions are really frictionless and it kind of expands business. And through expanding business, obviously it serves more consumers and customers, and also obviously it supports livelihoods and the larger economy, which is really the focus and the joint focus for all of us. Right? So, like I said, we started ONDC in the focus on the B2C space. That's when it started, and ONDC is very new, right? We started early this year. That's when we had the first set of transactions. And you will see some cases. For example, people in Bengaluru would see that we have Namaya 3 Auto, and we'll see some of that later in the presentation, right? That is a great example of a mobility sector where you have that on ONDC. And that has got very good positive feedback, both from consumers, but equally importantly from the auto drivers. And why is that so? Because it is something which has been created by the community, who have then plugged into the network. So it's created by the community, by a team which is so close to the seller ecosystem, in this case auto drivers. We are trying to replicate the same in other categories. So B2C has grown well. We are seeing good traction in food. Many of you would have bought on food. If not, please, I would request you, when you go back, look at how can you order a lot of food, grocery, those items on ONDC. B2B has started more recently, right? Because we started the journey with B2C, but we know the opportunity in B2B is very significant, right? And with the help of SIDBI, we had a number of field visits, and I know we met some of you when we visited you a couple of months back. That visits were very insightful. It helped us also to understand the lay of land on B2B. One of the things is B2B is such a wide spectrum, because even in this audience, you have so many industries, so many sectors which are addressed. Some are closer to B2C, right? So those may be ready use cases which we can start like tomorrow. Some require more deeper work, and we would be very keen to work jointly with you to help co-create those use cases so that we can make a huge impact on B2B with the small and medium enterprises as well, right? And we are also doing a lot of work with nano enterprises, again with support from SIDBI, and we want to share some of that, right? So obviously that is again a good use case. How can we kind of take that to the more fragmented producer ecosystem? So again, we will cover this in greater detail in the presentation which we have later today. But thank you once again for joining here, and look forward to continued collaboration and really co-creating this along with you.
Thank you, Shri Harishankar, for throwing light on ONDC, especially for B2B businesses. They say, coming together is the beginning, being together is the progress, but working together is the success. To go far, it's always good that we collaborate, right? That's what SIDBI and KASSIA, they've been doing. They've collaborated together to work hand in hand to strengthen the MSME ecosystem. So we have with us Shri Shashidhar Shetty, President KASSIA. So looking forward to hearing from you.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಶ್ರೀ ಎಸ್ ರಾಮನ್ ಅವರು CMD SIDBI, ಶ್ರೀ ಸತ್ಯಕಿ ರಸ್ತೋಗಿ ಜನರಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೀಜನಲ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ರೀಜನಲ್ ಆಫೀಸ್, ಶ್ರೀ ಹರಿಶಂಕರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ONDC, and Shripati sir, then my colleague Rajgopal, Socrates sir, and all the dignitaries. And with the short notice you all joined. It's a great thing, like major worry for any SME conference like this audience. Today we are really happy to have all of you here. ONDC, like our Harishankar sir explained now, open network for digital commerce. It is one of the sponsored by government, like digitalization. I am also in one of this board of MSME, that's a RAM committee, recently launched program, Raising and Accelerating MSME Performance. There we see all the states when they supplied presented their investment plan, no? The major thing, wherever there is a demand for digitalization, I think without any discussion that is approved. That is the urge for digitalization of the government of India. Like whatever the funds asked, they said yes. Let all the state governments take this initiative. Digitalization is the most, I think, priority area now. So we need to take advantage of these schemes. Like we, Karnataka especially, we are very poor in using and availing the facilities what is given to us by the governments. Like central government, so many schemes are there. Main thing is we are not aware of. When we can get to know that, when we attend the whatever the seminars conducted and all, so then only we can know about all the programs of the government and any information. Until unless we attend this kind of programs, we will not know. We should improve our knowledge through attending the seminars, conferences and all. That I think, apart from our work, yes, we SMEs are always busy with our work. We have to answerable to so many people like our customers, bankers. Yes, we are busy, 100% it is true, but still we need to update our and upgrade our knowledge. Otherwise, we cannot survive in this competitive world. In like ONDC, so many seminars, I think all the areas, industrial areas, everywhere, these ONDC seminars are conducted. But today, SIDBI is taking the initiative. We are working with SIDBI. How SIDBI is associated with KASSIA? Like NABARD, Bank meant for Agricultural Development. SIDBI, the main intention of SIDBI's existence is support the small industries. The name itself, it says Small Industries Development Bank. Initially, they used to refinance. So we never, I think our knowledge about SIDBI was very less because initial days they refinanced banks and KSFC and all. Today, aggressively SIDBI is in the market of financing and they are helping us in all the way. Whatever the problems now, like now you may not understand, like SIDBI had a help desk in KASSIA. Every Friday, 3 to 5, SIDBI officials are sitting, helping the borrowers to upload their documents and suggestions, documents required. I request everyone to make use of this. In some of the express loans, 3 days, we have beneficiaries. It is not that you used to say SIDBI is delaying in sanction. That is all old story now. Like we have, through KASSIA, we have borrowers who got the loan in 3 days. 3 days means 3 days. 1 day uploading, next day visit, third day release. One thing is, when the documents are clear, there is no deviation from the procedures. Otherwise, SIDBI is the easiest loan we can get. So we are everywhere we are explaining about this. It's our bank. SIDBI is meant for small industries, like for us. So if we are not making use of it, who will use it? Like we need not have to. It is our bank. We can demand the services as long as we are clear in our all the procedures, everything. It's easy to get SIDBI loan. We have to make use of SIDBI's all the product schemes. Like we met Chairman Sir last year when he came for inauguration of their regional office in MG Road. I requested him, sir, these are the some products you have to introduce. It is not there in the bank, like working capital term loan. Whenever the entrepreneurs today, the next generation is not coming, means we need to retire at certain age. What happens? We could not due to working capital loan will continue forever. So I requested, sir, you have to introduce working capital term loan so that we can plan our retirement. By the time we retire, there should not be any burden on us. He is saying today it is already considered and we are working on that. That is the way SIDBI works. And what happened in the month of June, Rastogi sir and Ulagian sir, both of them came to KASSIA and we discussed about how we can work together. Then initially I told him, sir, SIDBI you are delaying, so people are not interested. All those things I told. Rastogi sir, with all these I thought he will maybe he is not happy with us. I should not have spoken that. I thought after that, but next day he called. No, we want to work with KASSIA. I liked your comments. That's openness. I liked it. We are also open. We want to work with KASSIA, he said. And immediately, what we did, we have KASSIA, like the problem I explained to you, that awareness. We are not aware of the schemes and facilities available. Like other parts of India, any state you take, they are very, very fast in availing the benefits of whatever available. Like by the time we understand the schemes, that schemes will not be there. That is what happening with the Karnataka MSMEs. So that is why we thought, first and foremost, we want to take up all the financial literacy and other awareness programs. I told him, sir, we have planned for all district visits and creating awareness about the program. Then immediately Rastogi sir said, yeah, we will join with you. We will fund the project also. 50% will fund led, 50% funded by DAC. Already part of that program, we have conducted our awareness programs inaugurated in Bangalore. Then we first took our North Karnataka region, like North Karnataka districts are, even now, the banking is a major issue there. Like we took this first program we did in Yadgiri, Bijapur, Gulbarga, Bidar. 4 districts we have covered in the first month. That response was very good. Sidbi Ulagian joined us in all the programs. He was very happy, and they want to replicate these programs in other states also. That is the association we have. Our plan is to visit all the districts, create awareness among the members. We are the state, like Karnataka. KASSIA is the only association representing the entire state of Karnataka. This is our prime responsibility to first create the awareness and educate our members about the programs, benefits available, so that MSMEs can prosper. And Sidbi, one more thing I want to mention here. Everyone knows KASSIA office in Vijayanagar. That building was it stopped for some time for want of funds. That time in 2008, I'm talking 8, 9, Sidbi came forward. That time Sidbi was not financing directly to the MSMEs. They came forward, sanctioned a loan of 2 crores with the term that 2 years interest-free holiday they gave. This is the support we got from KASSIA, Sidbi. That is the relationship of Sidbi with KASSIA. We told the Sidbi people that KASSIA will definitely continue these programs forever. We want to be with KASSIA because KASSIA is for small scale industries, like micro and small industries. Sidbi's objective also small industries. So that is why we want to continue this association, and I request the chairman to support us further in all SMEs. SMEs in somewhat after COVID, no, the recovery process is still happening. We are not recovered totally. And this is the time we need more support from Sidbi, and I request everyone to avail the facilities offered by the government and financial, whatever the product Sidbi is offering. Sidbi should be our first destination, because this is our bank. We should see that we will go with Sidbi will go with it. And thank you for Sidbi. Actually, we have to thank you, sir, because we have given us an opportunity to join with you for this program. Our responsibility is to get the audience. That is the responsibility we have taken. All other things organized by Sidbi. I hope now both will be successful in our venture. Thank you, sir.
So well said, sir. So important to upgrade our knowledge always. Thank you so much for also talking about this wonderful association with Sidbi and all the joint initiatives. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Shri S. Raman, IA and AS CMD Sidbi. We're all looking forward to hearing from you, sir. The man who needs no introduction, but it's my privilege to introduce her to this August gathering. Shri S. Raman belongs to 1991 batch of Indian Audit and Account Service. He joined as Chairman and Managing Director, Small Industries Development Bank of India from 19th April 2021. Before joining SIDBI, he was MD and CEO of National E-Governance Services Limited from December 2016. And prior to joining NESL, Mr. Raman was the Principal Accountant General Audit Jharkhand Ranchi during 2015 and 16. He worked with SEBI as CGM and later Executive Director between 2007 and 2013. He held various positions in the offices under the CNAG of India in various states and also worked as Executive Secretary to the CNAG of India. He worked as First Secretary at Indian High Commission, London, for auditing the accounts of various Indian embassies in Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we welcome Sri S. Raman, sir. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Namaskara. I must say I am touched to see so many people sitting here this evening. I can only thank KASSIA. Shetty sir, you said SIDBI has sponsored this and you were asked to bring the people. I think because the people are coming behind you, we will also be behind you. It is truly wonderful to have such an enlightened audience here today. We have specially asked the ONDC team to talk about a futuristic concept, and they will definitely do that. I am grateful to Mr. Harishankar and his team to be here today. We feel as the Parliament mandate given to SIDBI, it goes through, in fact, if any of you ever have the time, you will find more than 20 objects written down in that act of SIDBI, which SIDBI is supposed to do for the MSME. One of them is financing. Many others we have certainly tried to do. It's not that we have forgotten about it. But as somebody has correctly said today, it is because of the way the country is growing. Through technology and digital processes, we find that we are in a better position to deliver so many more services to all of you. It is India's era, it is India's decade. Various, from BCG to McKinsey to various consultancies and research groups, they are talking about how India is going to now take its rightful place in the global order. Let me assure you, none of that will happen if it is not for the work done by all of you. It is only the work of an SME that has ever taken a country from emerging market to developed status. We have shining examples in front of us. Korea being one of the most illustrative examples because it's one of the most recent countries that has now been elevated into that bracket of developed countries. It has probably the most vibrant SME market. It has such a well-developed credit guarantee scheme that even our credit guarantee scheme, which is the largest in the world, it is in a small country much bigger than our scheme. We are a country of 70 million SMEs. Korea is 1/5 of our size. Why am I talking about credit guarantee? Because I firmly believe that the government of India has done the right thing by bringing in additional 9,000 crores, in which SIDBI has also contributed 500 crores for enhancing the corpus of credit guarantee scheme, CGT-MSE. It is, from a banking point of view, one of the most encouraging ways for a bank to take an additional risk and therefore look at lending to SMEs more easily. What are we doing under that scheme? We are covering 75% of the loan given by banks to all of you. The limit has now been raised to 5 crores as a limit of loan. Earlier it was 2 crores. Many of you are aware that banks used to offer credit guarantee scheme to all of you with an additional 2.5% as guarantee fee. That guarantee fee has now become half. So if earlier it was 2.5, it has actually become half. This has started from 1st April, and I am taking this opportunity in front of this very enlightened audience to tell you that put pressure on your banks. Make sure that you get the benefit of this scheme, because the guarantee fee is half. The amount of guarantee that the guarantee trust can now take has become another 10 times. So today we have got nearly 2 lakh crore of loans under guarantee. This can go up to 4 lakh crores within the next, 18 months. It all depends on how quickly the banks give you loans. This is a very big step that has been taken recently. From the point of view of the banks, we have made it extremely simple. Again, going back to digitalization, the bank does not need to do any data entry to file the loan with CGT-MSME. The entire thing is through what is known as an API system. The loan is given and immediately the details are put into the CGT-MSME. Digitalization allows us to come close to you. It also allows for greater efficiency, less discretion, and therefore I want to ask all of you to go back today, go to the SIDBI website, press on Express Loan. Mr. Shetty talked about it. I was so happy to hear his feedback. I'm hoping that the loan can be given to you in 2 days, not even 3 days. Because what we have created for SMEs like yourself, where you have a history of GST, you have your ITR returns, you have the bank statement, these 3 pieces of data is all that I need to be able to say, can I give you a loan under Express with no manual intervention? It is simply a computer-based algorithm. It's called a business rule engine. We have 4 scores in that. If you pass the score, you are given a loan. This we have done for machinery loans because we know that every SME needs to enhance capacity. They need a loan immediately because they have suddenly got a big order and they need the new machinery. For existing customers, it certainly should be 2 days. If I have heard in some parts of the country that branches have done in fact, the branch does not even know that the customer has given the loan through Express because it's a customer's journey that is happening. Only when the loan is sanctioned, then it comes on the screen of the branch officer saying that so-and-so person in his area has been sanctioned a loan. That is the power of digitalization. So I wish all of you to do this. Kindly give your feedback to Mr. Shetty. He will convey the feedback to our team, give it directly to our team, because we want that as SIDBI has taken this step, no other bank has done this till now. We are interested in helping all the banks to do this. We have created along with CIBIL and OPL. OPL is online public sector loans. It is another fintech in the country which serves the MSME segment. We have asked them to come together. It took us about 13 months to work on this. they have created a score which we call as FIT rank, FIT, which triangulates these 3 data points: GST, ITR and bank statement. Based on that, you will be given a loan. Of course, we are taking a compliance report from GST, we are taking your repayment history with the credit bureau. But just these 3 or 4 points of data, you will be sanctioned a loan. If your loan is not sanctioned, that means you are asking for a slightly more complicated type of a loan. Our branch officers will definitely come forward and help you complete the application process. Because this is a quick loan, it is meant for machinery purchase. Why are we talking about this? Because now FIT rank will be used by all the banks. As we speak, SBI, HDFC, Bank of Baroda, all of them are testing the FIT rank, because the whole purpose of SIDBI is to make sure that maximum credit flows to all of you. We know that we are the principal agency, but we are small. We are serving our customers very well, but we have a larger public duty to help the entire banking system to come forward and give more help to all of you. And that is the role of SIDBI. It is got a much larger charter, and therefore for me to come forward and make all these experiments on your behalf, that is what we are doing. And one such experiment is ONDC. Not on the credit side, but on the marketing side. We have uploaded or onboarded about, I would say 3,000, that was some figure that I read a while ago. 3,000 small artisans have been brought onto ONDC. They are Kanchipuram silk weavers. There are some 500 silk weaver cooperatives in that entire area. But each one is selling on their own name. Each one goes to a large shop and tries to sell their saris. The commission that those shops take, or the price that the shops give to the artisan, you also understand what is the bargaining power between a small artisan and a big shop. If you go to Amazon, it's the same story. ONDC is democratizing e-commerce for the benefit of the supplier. SIDBI has taken up this role because we believe we stand for every type of SME. As I said, 70 million SMEs, of which only 1.5 crore or 15 million are GST registered SMEs. So we are talking about a very large number of extremely small but very talented SMEs. From Kanchipuram silk to chikankari in Lucknow to a host of other artisans. We have brought them on board to ONDC because we believe in the power of ONDC, that people who have the talent should be making the money because they have the talent. Certainly the distribution channel will also take its commission, but we cannot allow monopolies to dominate. So there has to be, and that is the only reason why Government of India has, as Hari said, sponsored this, has encouraged all of us to come on board, and as SIDBI, we are one of the early shareholders of ONDC. I myself am on the board of ONDC. We take it very seriously that this is our duty. And believe me, this is the duty for India to grow. India has this extremely good opportunity. We have got today a China +1 situation where people are not very sure whether they want to invest in China. But let's be honest, you ask yourselves, are you getting those number of orders which earlier might have been going to China? Is it coming to India? Answer is mixed. There is not that kind of pressure coming to India because we still have many inefficiencies in our system. This is where I think actively a lot of work is being done at the central government level, how to make ease of doing business better. It is a continuous process. We cannot simply say that we were ranked 63 better than 140 on a World Bank ease of doing business. 63 also needs to come further to a much higher number. So there is a long journey ahead of us. The interaction with all of you is the only way that we can learn to make our process better, whether it is a working capital term loan, whether it is one more product that we have worked very hard to bring to all of you, because we understand that many of you may not even get the kind of working capital facilities which typically banks give, because banks will give you a working capital based on collateral. Very few banks have moved to a point where they are willing to give you working capital based on your cash flow. We have created what is called as GST Sahay. It is nothing but an understanding of your GST transactions, based on which your invoice will get financed. It is a simple version of bill discounting, but entirely on a digital app. You will upload an invoice, SIDBI will see your transactions on the GSTN, we will pull your data using the OTP, we will compare it with your bank statement, and we will immediately give you financing for that invoice. And this will be at rates which typically we would be giving for working capital. So the aim is to make cash flow-based financing popular. It will take time, but we have finalized the app. We have done about 300 test cases across the country. We have seen a good degree of success, and the entire process is such that we have, through the NPCI system of eNACH, I'm sure some of you may have heard of what is eNACH. It is nothing but making you contract on a digital system, saying that this is the amount of monthly installment that I will pay for this particular amount of financing given by us. So if we finance 10,000 rupees, there will be an eNACH for the next 6 months where you will pay the EMI for that particular financing. And it's an automatic flow that comes, so you don't need to do anything. You just have to make sure that that EMI amount is financed in your bank account. So these are the very large digital initiatives that we are taking. Very soon we'll be able to provide cash flow based financing to all of you, because it is something that has been tested and also tested at scale. So I just want to, take this really delightful opportunity to be here with all of you to assure you that we are taking our role extremely seriously. There is a much larger vision for India which is there driving us. It is making all our officers work very hard. We have increased the number of branches that we have got. We were earlier about 80. We are now going to be soon, in a month's time, 105 branches. We will further increase that so that we can improve our reach across the country. Places like Northeast, we have gone and created several programs there, and I'm delighted to share, though it does not affect you at all, but for the first time we have given a loan in Nagaland. Till now, that entire state of Nagaland barely used to get bank finance. Some large projects, but the SMEs, nobody would look at it. So we have got a larger role. In fact, I can share with you, I was just 3 weeks ago in a place called Kupwara, which is northern Kashmir. It is 3 hours drive north from Srinagar, where we have worked with the army and an NGO to bring assurance to the people of that area that it is commerce, it is enterprise that can make your life better. It is a way for India to integrate the people of Jammu and Kashmir back into India. There has been so much disturbance there, now there is peace. I have met hotel associations in Srinagar and in other smaller areas, all they want is the tourists to come there. And the tourists have gone. I'm sure many of you would have also gone to Kashmir in the last maybe 2 years or so. It is a beautiful land, but our job is to make sure that tourism flourishes. So we have created 150 homestays in different parts of Kashmir so that there is an opportunity for those people to become entrepreneurs. So, I'm just giving you a few nuggets of what we do. We would be very happy to get suggestions from all of you with respect to your work, with respect to what is it that we can do for you. And I would really fail in my duties if I were not to talk about the sustainable growth. So we have understood as SIDBI, India is a very large country. We will not allow anybody to come in the way of our progress. From the Prime Minister to myself, when I go on international conferences, our speech and our talk is the same. We say that India will develop. We will develop with responsibility towards the environment. And therefore, I request all of you to kindly make use of the schemes we have, which are called energy efficiency or 4E, or the solar rooftop or the wind power projects. We have actually reduced our interest rates between 50 basis points to 100 basis points so that all of you can adopt more and more of sustainable production. The global north versus global south is a big debate going on in the entire world because the global north has already developed. Now they are saying that the global south, you must not have carbon emissions. But can we stop our development? Answer is no. But can we develop more responsibly? The answer is yes. And that is why we have brought out a scheme where we have over 1,000 machines which we have calibrated with the help of Bureau of Energy Efficiency. By buying those machines, you can on paper say that you have got a sustainable production. We can say that we have got a green asset. This is the way forward. We have to work together. We have to look at what is the best way to grow. Finally, the environment is shared between all the countries of the world. So we have a duty towards what we call as sustainable production and sustainable growth. This is something that is a very big job for SIDBI to do. We would go across with the help of partners to increase the awareness of all the SMEs towards the environmentally conscious growth. All of you who are exporters are probably fully aware of how the buying partners in different countries impose certain ESG conditions upon you. Now, instead of them forcing some conditions which you cannot comply and you losing your business, you may as well take that step forward. We are there to help you for this process. So kindly come forward if you have any requirements on the area of ESG. We'll be happy to help you. We have a full division devoted to this particular aspect. So let me not take more time. I really thank you for your patient hearing. But please do use our officers and our teams as much as you can. And I once again, assure KASSIA that we will certainly be behind you. We are here for your development, for the development of all your members. And that is our role. So let us work closely together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that very meaningful and thought-provoking address for taking us through the power of digitalization, for taking us through the initiatives, amazing initiatives by SIDBI. Thank you so much. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, moving to another very crucial part of today's evening. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಘಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋ ಮುನ್ನ may I request all the dignitaries to join us below. ಮುಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ, the next part is the most awaited moment why we are all here today. We now request Shri Harishankar, Head Transformation ONDC, to take us through the ONDC, the introduction and the opportunities in the space of ONDC. So, warm welcome to you again. Looking forward to hearing from you and learning so much more about ONDC and how this platform can help B2B MSMEs. So, welcome to you again.
Thank you once again. What we want to do now is really take you through a little bit more detail about ONDC. Right? I covered a summary in 5-10 minutes initially, but this is about taking you through how ONDC has evolved, what is the principle and philosophy behind ONDC, and I'll request my colleague Manila, who leads the B2B category as well as the home appliances category within ONDC. And she has been doing a lot of the engagement sessions. I'll request Manila to come through and take us through on the philosophy of ONDC. We'll follow that up with a little bit more detail and focused discussion on the opportunity for MSME. And that, as I said, it is early stages for us. This is the beginning of a conversation. And then we would want to throw the house open for questions and what can we do going forward. Manila, can I have a question?
Hi everybody, thank you Hari. First of all, thank you SIDBI and KASSIA team for inviting ONDC to this event. And also I would like to thank each one of you who are there in this room to take out time and especially be present here. So I am going to walk you through the ONDC briefing. So I would request if you can just go back to the previous slide. Yeah. So ONDC stands for Open Network for Digital Commerce. So ONDC stands for Open Network for Digital Commerce. So as Hari mentioned, this is an initiative by Government of India, and the overall objective of ONDC is to step change the e-commerce penetration. So if you look at the current e-commerce penetration in India, it stands at around 6 to 7% when it comes to B2C segment. And whereas if you look at B2B, our current penetration in India is hardly 1 to 1.5%, which is well below the global average of around 20%. So overall, the objective of this particular initiative is to dramatically step change the e-com penetration. And also if you look, this particular penetration in the rural or smaller towns, you'll find this particular penetration percentage to be even further lower. So now let's understand that how ONDC is solving for this. So basically first we have identified what are the reasons that are leading to lower participation or lower digital penetration percentage. So one of the biggest reasons that got identified was limited choices for the sellers to be online. So by this what we mean is that, for example, if before ONDC, if I am a restaurant, as a restaurant I had only 2 options to go online. Either it was Zomato or the other option was Swiggy, right? So there are limited choices for the seller. Either the seller is in restaurant business or the seller is in grocery business. So there are very limited choices for the sellers to be online. And now thus since sellers have limited choices, so obviously this leads to discoverability issues, plus also sellers need to agree to the terms and conditions that are set by the platforms. So if platforms come back and tell to me that this is the commission you need to pay or these are my payment terms and conditions, as a seller I need to agree to that, right? So that's the second challenge which are largely faced by, I'll say, non-digitized seller. And third is obviously also a discoverability issue, which is one of the major issues that is faced by most of the digitized as well as non-digitized seller. They need to invest a lot in terms of displaying their listings on the top. And last is also the cost of setting up the e-commerce business. So obviously we are also not seeing many new entrants that are entering into the e-commerce business, and the reason is any entity that is trying to set up an e-commerce function, either it is a food delivery application or either it is an e-commerce application, that entity needs to stitch the entire value chain. Why? Because currently our e-commerce operates in a closed network model, where any entity is responsible for setting the entire buyer side, supplier side, as well as logistics side. So since it's a closed network model, obviously the cost of setting up an e-commerce function is very, very high, and that's why we are seeing very limited players that have entered into the e-commerce segment. So now let's understand how ONDC is solving for this. So ONDC is basically designed on two principles. One is unbundling and second is interoperability. So by unbundling, what we are saying is we are unbundling the entire value chain of e-commerce. Basically, as I said, like since our e-commerce is working in closed network model, where any app that is right now live obviously is taking care of entire seller, buyer and logistics side. But with the help of unbundling concept, we are unbundling sell, buy and logistics side of the e-commerce value chain. And second is interoperability. Basically, interoperability principle allows the three different applications to talk to each other. So let's also understand this with an example, right? So we all use, Gmail or any email system on daily level basis, right? So ONDC is very similar to, I'll say, simple mail transfer protocol, which we use on day-to-day basis. Basically, today if I'm a Gmail user, I can instantly transfer an email to, let's say, Yahoo user or a Zigbee user. Why that is possible? Because there is a common protocol that exists, SMTP protocol that exists between the two different email clients that help, the interaction of these email clients, right? So very similar to that, ONDC is a protocol. It's a technology, it's a protocol, it's a set of instructions written technically, which will allow different applications on buyer side, on seller side, on logistics side to talk to each other. So that's exactly what ONDC is. So now let's also understand this with an example. Let's say today there is a platform 1, right? Platform 1 basically is any platform. You can take an example, either it is Swiggy or Zomato or Flipkarts of the world, where a platform is responsible for the buy side of an activity, which largely, obviously takes care of building the cart, search for the product and payment gateway. Second, obviously, also a closed network or a closed platform is responsible for the seller side of the activity, which is basically catalog creation, seller management, order fulfillment. These are the activities which are taken care by the seller side. Now, third, obviously, that platform is also responsible for the logistics, or I'll say delivery part, right? So currently in the closed network system, all the three important functions that are part of any e-commerce value chain are taken care by one particular platform itself, right? But what we are saying is, after ONDC, with the help of unbundling concept and with the help of interoperability concept, we are unbundling the three important functions of e-commerce, where there will be a separate buyer app that will be largely responsible for search for the product, build cart and payment gateway. There will be a separate seller app that will be largely responsible for building the selection, onboarding the sellers, fulfilling the orders. And then there will be a separate logistics app that is going to be responsible for the delivery part. And obviously, since there will be three different applications that are playing different roles, obviously now with the help of second principle of ONDC, which is interoperability, these applications can talk to each other. So this is how the universe of ONDC looks like, where we have ONDC protocol, which is in center. Now there are different buyer applications. Buyer applications are the one, for example, an end user like me or you guys, you will interact with the buyer application. So end users are going to come through the buyer app. There will be seller applications that are going to onboard smaller kirana stores, or there can be seller ISN, inventory seller nodes, there can be seller marketplace seller nodes that are going to come on the sell side. And then there will be different logistics applications that are going to take care of the fulfillment part. So this is how the universe of ONDC looks like. So if we talk about the progress that we have made so far, so we are currently on ONDC, we are live with around 13 buyer applications. These buyer applications include names like Paytm, phone pay, basically pin code by phone pay, magic pin, Snapdeal, all these buyer applications are working with us on the buyer side. Basically their task is to bring the end consumers. On the sell side, we are working with around 35 seller applications, and with the help of these 35 seller applications, we are live with around 1.79 lakh plus sellers and around 1 CR plus SQs. These are the sellers and buyers we have been able to onboard. Apart from this, we also have around 10 logistics applications live with with marquee names like eCart, Loadshare, Shadowfax, etc. live on the network. If I talk about the categories in B2C, we are live in multiple categories from electronics to grocery to food to fashion. So all these categories are already live in B2C. In B2B, we have currently gone live with around 4 categories, largely agriculture, grocery, fashion and food. So these are the few categories with which we have gone live in B2B. Also very soon we are going to launch financial services as another domain in both B2B and B2C. So now I would like to call Hari. Hari will try to cover opportunities for MSMEs through ONDC. Thank you everybody.
The other example I wanted to talk about is the work we have done with nano entrepreneurs with help and support from Citigroup. Right? Now, Mr. Raman spoke about what we have done with Weavers in Kanchipuram. Now, I spent some time with them because really, really energizing story. I mean, they have always made high quality products, but their ability to reach customers directly without having to go through a more expensive and sometimes exorbitant channel of intermediaries, the open network has facilitated that. So today they are getting orders from Lucknow, Jaipur, or Delhi on the network, which is going to the individual viewers. It's still very small. It's still a small number of viewers, right? We have to scale it up, and there are lots of challenges in scaling up, right? And now obviously you are running bigger enterprises, so you may not have that level of digital challenges, right? In many cases your own operations would have been much more digitized. But if you look at their operations, right, they have never done e-commerce. Right? And when we were in Kanchipuram, we suddenly found that the courier came to pick up an order, and they were not ready for it. They had not barcoded, they had not packaged it, etc., which is we take for granted in an e-commerce world. So therefore, there is a significant maturity to be done for nano entrepreneurs and possibly for some of the small enterprises as well to get them ready for e-commerce. Let me just talk a little bit about what is the art of the possible with MSMEs, including a large representation here. I know is MSMEs which are focused on production. As I said, this is something we want to co-create. We don't have a ready solution where you can plug in and suddenly the production category will explode. It's not that, right? What we have is a network, and we would like to work together with you to see how we can develop multiple of these articles. But what is the art of the possible, right? Because if I were sitting in your shoes, my first question would be, fine, all this is nice and interesting, but why should I come on to the network? I've got so many priorities to do, right? Why is this important? And what is the art of the possible? So the good thing is, all of you are entrepreneurs, right? So you are really looking at what is the future upside, right? And therefore, it is the future upside which is driving your decisions. So what are the possibilities of the future upside? See, we have always had portals, whether it is government portals or trade and private portals or e-commerce portals, right? And MSMEs have always tried to get onto these portals. These portals have not been very transactional in the past, right? They are more like a yellow pages. You log in, you get discovered, maybe you get discovered, but who goes to a yellow pages, right? So chances are even the discovery is low, but everyone would have registered, right? As ONDC, we are now connecting with all of these. There is work happening with us, with the Ministry of MSME, to see how can we connect with the MSME Mart, for example, right? And how do we take something like that into a much more transactional portal? So we believe that once MSMEs are on to ONDC, without additional effort, you'll find that you are automatically wired with all the portals that we are bringing on board centrally.
right? So this is equivalent to saying, if I take a telephone connection, I take a connection, but everyone else who has taken a connection suddenly gets exposed to me, right? So that's the art of the possible, and therefore, why is it important, even at the early stage of the journey, where on day one after connecting to ONDC, it's not that suddenly there will be an order, right? There may be no order, right? But why getting onto the open network opens you to so many possibilities, right? So integration with government portals we talked about. There is the GEM for government procurement. We are in discussion to see how can we wire these two, right? Because GEM has been an active platform for government procurement, right? What can we do to streamline, to connect what we are doing as ONDC with that? Similarly, what can we do with a number of the private as well as e-commerce portals which have come up? And we are in active discussion with all of them to say how can they bring in both their supply as well as their demand so that it is exposed to MSMEs who come on to the open network. The other is discovery within the MSME ecosystem, right? Now obviously within this wider group and of MSMEs, there will be a lot of cross demand, and chances are a lot of that is already getting fulfilled, right? So some of you are selling to somebody else within the MSME ecosystem. What ONDC will help facilitate is, it will make that much more complete, right? So if a large number of MSMEs came onto the network, there will be mutual discoverability. And therefore, you will have a greater view of products and catalogs that are coming in from others. We are in discussion with large enterprises, right? I know many of you do sell to large enterprises, and some of you have very strong, captive relationships. But then we are also talking about other items, particularly non-production items, right? Where there are no standardized items which can sell, which could be of value to multiple enterprises. And many of them you are already connecting to. But if these enterprises came onto the network, suddenly they will see a huge discoverability, right? So if you look at what happens in the West, right, particularly in developed countries, you have people like SAP and Oracle, etc. They have created things like Ariba Network, right? Which is where you'll find a lot of small and medium enterprises register their products. And a lot of enterprise buying happens on that, right? That's how the West has evolved. It is good because there's a lot of discoverability, but it also has its challenges because it's a kind of more closed platform. We have an opportunity now to see how we can start the journey of exposing a whole host of catalogable products, right, on the open network, so that it is then visible to large enterprises with whom we are having similar sessions, right? We are similarly working with large enterprises to say, if you get onto the network, obviously they have an opportunity on the sell side, but we think they have an opportunity on the buy side as well. Frankly, have we progressed that? Not much, right? But we are in active conversation, and we believe in the months to come, we will be able to look at the procurement side of large enterprises as well. The last one, and Mr. Raman spoke about leveraging credit, particularly flow-based credit, right? The open network will automatically facilitate a lot of that. We are trying to get a whole host of banks and NBFCs onto the network, right? So if they have full visibility of your flow, how could we move to more flow-based credit? Because they will see your complete transaction available on the open network, and it is possible that things like bill discounting can happen much more automatically on the network. The last one is logistics, right? Because we have a whole host of logistics providers coming on the network, both for local, hyperlocal, but also intercity, right? Now, obviously, you have your own strong logistics arrangements. We believe the open network will give you more options, and it's possible that you will be able to discover options for freight and shipment on the open network along with your core product flow. So again, what the thought I want to leave you with is, we don't have ready solutions for many sectors. We have some examples, and we share a few, right? We have a lot of examples in the B2C space. We have some early work in the B2B space. But what we want to do, and that's a request to everybody here, with the help from CIPI, we'll also reach out to KASSIA for help to see how can we work with you to look at select archetypes. So, those of you in a particular sector, can we have, someone, a couple of, your team members who are passionate about this space, with whom we can look to develop this, right? So that, and of course with the deep expertise which will be there in development institutions like CIPI, right? So that we are able to jointly create multiple solutions and archetypes within in the B2B space focused on MSME. And of course, as I said, this is the start of the journey. It's like taking a telephone connection. You know that the telephone network will grow. It makes sense for you to take the connection. It's not about will you be able to call everybody on day one. When the telephone system first came in, the first subscriber obviously didn't have anyone to call, right? But it grew exponentially. That's our belief, that by coming onto the network, you will find more opportunities, and therefore we will be able to grow this together. So these were just some thoughts I wanted to leave behind on specifically focused on MSME. If you look at what is the process on onboarding onto ONDC, like Manila explained, you have buyer applications and seller applications. They are the people who actually work with you to kind of onboard you. Those are commercial entities who have the software. In some cases, you may have your own software, you may have your own technology team, and you could come in to ONDC directly as a seller, right? In other cases, you may say, I have my own system, but I want someone to write that bridge in between, and also manage some of the commercial aspects. So you've got both options available, right? And you could explore coming in directly, you could explore coming in with a seller network participant who can be a bit of an aggregator and also handle some of the commercial processes. There is a third possibility where you just subscribe to the technology from a technology company. You say, I will handle all the commercials, etc. myself. I just want the technology. So there are multiple options available. And again, we will work closely along with the CIPI team when we engage with you to see what are the options for you to come on board. Right? There are multiple seller applications, and there are more who are joining us. And they are all coming with just like we are doing this session with MSMEs, we do similar sessions with seller applications who want to come on board. And they will be the ones who will help you in case you choose not to come in directly. There is a lot of material available on ONDC. I would urge you to we'll share some of these materials. It's also available in the public website. Everything that we do is open and publicly available. I would urge you to go through that. There are also informative videos. Maybe some of your team members would be keen to understand this at a level of detail, so please do that. There is an ONDC site. Again, it's just a call away. There is a WhatsApp chat channel. You can get anyone, and of course, Manila and me and all the ONDC team is always available to you for any questions that you may have. That was really what we wanted to cover as a introduction to ONDC and something about what is the art of the possible for MSMEs. Some which we have already cultivated, but there is a whole much.
This e-commerce companies.
I think it's a valid question. Today there is no single e-commerce regulator because they come under different aspects of commerce. But there are multiple steps which are happening. For example, one of the steps which has happened is about the data privacy laws which has just come. That is one of the important elements of e-commerce because the big thing that any e-commerce platform has is the data and what you can do and what you cannot do with data. When it comes to the commerce aspects, there are obviously the current establishments which control commerce, but they are all looking at what more is to be done with respect to e-commerce. So to your question, is there a single e-commerce regulator in the country? There isn't, and I don't know whether there is.
Set up by the government. So I'm checking. Are you going for B2C? Yes.
Yes,
So
we are.
starting with B2C.
That's what. How do we cobble up the consumers? Buyers.
Okay, so I think one of so I was sitting here and somebody asked me how to shop also on ONDC. So I think everybody in this room would have Paytm app, right? So can you raise your hand in case if you have Paytm app? So I would ask everybody if you can open the Paytm app and right now itself and just scroll or search for ONDC on the top. And you will see, the options available. So you will see different categories available, right? So to answer your question, yes, we are live in B2C. In fact, we started with B2C, and currently we are live with around 13 buyer applications. with buyer applications like Paytm, pin code by PhonePe, Magic Pin, Ola. Even if you open Ola, you will find Ola Foods by ONDC as an option, right? So all these are, I'd say, there are around 13 buyer applications with which we are live right now in B2C sector.
I'm already a member of
Okay.
I already registered my company. Only thing I wanted to know, can't you promote our website? For example, I set up my own website, I'm selling my products through that, but maybe a small unit we are unable to popularize our website. I mean, selling through digital e-commerce. So why can't CDB, I mean ONDC, support this smaller units, MSME, who have got products to promote through their website?
So that's exactly.
Have any plan for that?
Yes, so that's exactly what we are doing. In fact, in B2C, which is a much mature category for us, we have onboarded large number of Kirana stores that were non-digitized. These are very, very small Kirana stores, and they have gone online, and they are showcasing the selection to all the users that are coming through Paytm, through Ola, through PhonePe, different applications. So that's exactly what we are doing. And in fact, that's the target even in the B2B segment as well, where we want to work with smaller SMEs and want to make their entire selection live on the ONDC network and expose the selection to the large number of buyer apps that are going to come on the buy side of B2B.
So our website will be promoted by you, on our behalf.
So ONDC is just a technology. So what will happen once you go live as a seller, either you can integrate directly or you can integrate via one of the seller applications, which is an MSM, right? Because in order to integrate with ONDC, you need to build an API, you need to build a plugin, right? Which might not be possible for the smaller sellers, right? They might not be able to build API, right? So what they do is they usually go live either through the marketplace network or they take the help of technology service provider who build the APIs for them. Once they go live on the network, their selection automatically goes live on the different buyer apps, and then they can closely work with all these buyer apps on understanding what kind of target audience is coming on their website, what kind of promotions, let's say as a seller, I should do, right, in order to showcase my listings on the top. So all that is something which you can continue once you're live on the ONDC network, and that can be done after, like, by coordination with the buyer apps.
Thank you.
Left side. I'm from Foundation. We have a specific question. It may not be relevant to MSME, but we work with thousands of SHGs who it's okay to raise a SHG. Our department says we are also working with ONDC. All the product will be branded under. What I need is, though the departments claim they are doing it, from your side I want to hear, like, what is your strategy for the aggregating the small SHGs in Karnataka? Because we work with more than 5,000 SHGs and members. So the government says they are doing it, but I want to hear from the House of Smoke that exactly what is the strategy for integrating the SHGs as such? Is it a common branding or common product, or you want an aggregator to come up wherein the aggregator like us can be a part of it too, something like that? I want to just hear from yours.
I think very valid question, right? And this is a challenge and an opportunity we face with all nano entrepreneurs, where what is their best way for them to come onto the network? Right? So the way we are working today, right, and we are actually working in, I would say, 5 or 6 clusters. Kanchipuram is one. We've just opened Banaras and Gujarat. They just started in Rajasthan, right? So that is one route where we are working directly with the nano entrepreneurs. Then there is a second route where we are working with organizations which are already there today, right? Some kind of aggregators who are also serving the same purpose, right? But it is coming through the aggregators. And aggregators could be, in some cases it could be SHGs, in some cases it could be government institutions. So for example, we have got Kaveri on board when it comes to Karnataka. We have got a lot of the state emporiums have come on board. So that we have got these two parallel channels. So coming to your question as to what can we do for where we are directly accessing the nano entrepreneurs. We realize that there is a need for someone to be there on the ground to support them, right? And that someone could be one of a couple of agencies. One, it could be if there is an SSG on ground who is willing to do the onboarding and supporting the commerce, we would welcome their participation on the open network, right? It could be, the participant could be in one or two ways. Either they come on board to become the seller network participant itself. Therefore, they become the commercial entity through which the sellers are coming on board. And they may take the technology from our TSP on a rental basis or something, because they may not be a technology company, but they are a company or an entity which has good proximity and trust with the seller. So that's one route. The second route which we are getting is people coming in as digital enablement agencies. And what I mean by that is SNP is an SNP like you have seen before, right? They could be a common SNP, but they don't have depth and feet on the street and people on ground to support the nano entrepreneurs. So an SNP comes on board to say, I will do the digital enablement, which means discover the nano entrepreneurs, help them make catalog, help them take the photographs, help them for the first few months of e-commerce, and then they are on their own. So both routes are open, and we are very keen to connect with grassroots organizations who can come on. And there is a lot of support from city and development institutions, because everyone recognizes that eventually this will be self-sustaining, but they will be help and support in the initial months. So there is, that channel is there. So we will be very keen to connect with anyone, yourself and anyone else in the audience here, who is going to play that role of supporting nano entrepreneurs, either as a seller network participant or as a digital enablement agency.
Also, just to add on, not only we have onboarded large number of SSGs like Kanchipuram weavers, etc., but also we have been able to generate demand for them. So even if you go to few of our buyer apps like My Store and even Paytm also, you will find a separate page for Amazing India. So basically Amazing India, that's one of the page which a banner that like basically My Store, and even they have given a separate space where they are promoting all these artisans and weavers collection, and obviously promoting this selection to large number of user base that is coming onto their website.
My question, let's say for example, sorry, just my last question. When it comes to say large orders, say I have a big festival, I supply some 2 lakhs of diyas.
Yeah.
Can this ONDC can manage that kind of aggregation level? Or for example, we work with jute cluster in Bagalkot, wherein somebody wants 1,000 pieces of jute files. So how do you like to take up these kind of challenges? Because when I say SHGs, they can't produce more than 10 per day, something like that. So I'm coming from, because we hand-rolled many SHGs, and this is a question, the question that okay with production aspect. It's okay, fine, you give us machinery, you give us funding, but what about marketing? You are able to confidently say, yes, you produce lakh pieces, I will sell it. We are not confident about it, because I would rather the connectivity and the platform to commit all that. I can say, okay, you will get, I will sell 100. But if I say I want to sell lakh of pieces, MSME produce those kind of things. It is good for us, not single MSME. But when aggregating say 1,000 SSGs, so we are stuck over there. We are not able to confidently completely say yes, I will give a market. I will say I have tied up with ONDC, but again, somewhere in my mind I am not confident of how to aggregate all this. Come out with a similar looking product. That's my question. So let it be off the lane, we can discuss it. If anything in your mind, you can answer. Thank you.
So happy to discuss this data, but basically the way the saying is going to providing you the pathway. In terms of estimation of demand, and for you, I mean that is like any other commerce contract, right? Once you have discovered the network and you know what is the demand coming, and the aggregator there or the SME there will have to help do the estimation of the demand. ONDC will help you connect with a whole host of buyer apps. So we can discuss the use cases in more detail, see what is possible. But clearly there is a big commercial role that will continue to be done locally. Right?
Yeah, so very, very small. It's a very small pandemonium.
I have a question here at the back.
Yeah.
At the back. As a seller, how do we figure out which buyer application to run on? Currently, Paytm doesn't have services for a buyer. If I'm into machinery and services, Yeah, that's basically it. But how do I figure out as a seller which one of those 14, 15 seller apps to kind of sign up? And also, is there a differential fee for a seller or not any of these apps?
Okay, so the first question, how do you decide that which particular seller app you will start the business with? So obviously, as ONDC will recommend you, these are the seller applications you can go live with. Now, as a seller, you will negotiate, you will discuss with all these seller applications, you will negotiate your terms and conditions. And let's say X seller app is the one, let's say, with which you are comfortable in terms of paying by percentage of commission, and let's say you are also okay with payment terms and conditions. Maybe you go live through that particular seller application. Now, the second question on the buyer app, as far as the buyer app question is concerned, so there, obviously, since it's a network, right, seller app is just connecting you to the ONDC network. Once you go live on the network, you will go live on all the buyer apps that are there on the buyer side. So let's say if today we are live with around 13 buyer applications, your selection will start showing on all the 13 buyer applications, irrespective of whether you go live through seller app A or B or C or D, right? So that's...
Hi, I have a question here. Here at the back.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. All that I wanted to ask is in manufacturing point of view. Here, if you can see like more and more where B2C is more benefited here.
Yeah.
If you wanted to talk in B2B perspective,
Yeah.
I'm a manufacturer who does components for end claims. Does ONDC help us identify the end? In order to expand our business, we wanted large companies to be a part of this. So we will be able to identify the large companies here. In order to expand our business, we want claims. So, like more like if you make a product and if you sell it to the end customer, I mean, in B2C, it is more helpful. How B2B is benefited with this?
Sure. So B2B is something which we started for 3.5 months back only. So as there are multiple use cases in B2B, currently we have started with first use case, which is distribution to retail use case, where a lot of distributor and manufacturers, they are able to, explore, or I'll say get in touch with large number of retailers that are coming to the buyer side. So this is one of the use cases which we have started with, but very soon we are going to enable the use case that you're talking about, which is basically manufacturer catering to large institutions, right? So that's the use case which we have not enabled so far, but very soon, maybe in the coming months, we are also going to enable that use case as well.
We'll take one last question.
I have one question.
One question.
So, in comparison with Amazon, there is one Amazon who will take responsibility for the buyer, but you have democratized this. So, who will take responsibility in the whole thing? Like there could be a logistics failure, there could be a product failure, there could be a combination of all of that. So, from the purchaser's point of view, who will take responsibility for all of this? Which was not clear from the presentation.
So we have, so I understand that we have done the unbundling part, but we have also put processes in place where we have IGM and RSP piece which we have launched. IGM stands for Issue Grievance Management. That's a common ticketing platform across all the 3 different buyer apps that are going to interact with each other. And this IGM also comes with a proper timeline with which the query of a buyer should get closed. So as an end user, let's say if I am interacting with Paytm or let's say PinCode, I will go and raise the query on these applications only, and obviously these applications will further raise the query across that IGM ticketing platform, which will make sure that my issue is getting resolved on time. So that is one thing which we have done. Second is also there is an RSP piece which we have come up with, which is reconciliation settlement process. Again, there are few third-party RBI-approved RSP partners involved. Again, they are making sure that payment, which is happening from the different buyer app to the different seller or logistics partner, that is also happening on time, and the reconciliation part is also taken care of. So these 2 processes we have already launched, and we are also taking further inputs from our sellers and buyers and incorporating those feedbacks also in whatever newer thing that will come up.
One follow-up question. To be really successful, you should be able to resolve at the speed at which Amazon settles this. Amazon settles in 30 seconds.
So very, very valid.
So if that is not there, all these suppliers who want to go on board will have a very not so good experience. and so will the buyers not have a very good experience, because we are talking about onboarding several MSMEs who are not very well known. But in the case of Amazon, even if they are not known, you are actually buying with confidence that Amazon will take care of your money safely. So this is something that is not very clear even now. Though you said there is a settlement, if that settlement takes about 1 month, you will not get a repeat customer. Even in B2C, you will not get a repeat customer. Even in B2B, you will not get a repeat customer. So how will you address this?
I just want to add one more point to what Manila said, right? Because this is an active question which comes up in every conversation, right? Because when you see the platform, you see everything inside one box in a PowerPoint chart, it gives you confidence that that box will solve everything. In our network, you will see 3-4 boxes. And therefore, there's always a question as to will things keep bouncing around between these, right? We have been in active discussion with all of the buyer apps. I think the biggest thing you should note is, in 99% of the cases, the buyer application who we are buying as a consumer, they will take responsibility to solve it for you, because they own the buyer. They are the buyer's agent, right? And in fact, last week we had a discussion with Ola, one of who come in as a buyer app. Their leadership was very clear. They are saying, whatever happens behind the scene is not our problem. It's not the consumer's problem, right? I am the buyer application. For 99% of the cases, I will make sure that it is sorted out. Then it is between the buyer app and ONDC and the seller app, etc., to make sure that nothing is lost, right? Now, our aim is exactly what you said. We want to make the experience as seamless as if it was one single block, without all the downsides of that single block. Because that single block comes with a lot of cost and rigidity, right? So our aim is we want to give the same experience, but without having any of the downsides. Yes, it is an important question.
If you tie it up, I think then you will be able to really grow the way Amazon has grown. If you don't tie it up well, then there will be bitter experiences. This is the only point I wanted to make.
What we can do is we are going to dinner time, so if there are any questions or conversations?
I have one, excuse me, I have one nano question, very small. My name is Vedat and we are into 3D printing. So we offer design as a product, it's not a manufactured product as such. So
services as a product.
Yeah, services as a product. Can that be also listed?
Yes, so as of now we have not made services category like, but it's also in process. So very soon we are going to make like services category.
Okay, thank you.
How do you coordinate GEM, government e-marketing? Can this ONDC and this GEM be coordinated?
It's going to grow. We are in discussion with all the everybody on it.
That should happen.
It is, yes. We are in active discussion. There is support from the leaders to make that happen.
Multiple problems. GEM has got
Thank you so much. I know you have a lot more questions. Mr. Harishankar and Manila will be available post the session also to take your questions. Thank you so much, Mr. Harishankar, for throwing so much light on ONDC and the opportunities in the space. Thank you so much. Manila, may I request Mr. Satyaki Rastogi to please come on stage and present a memento to Mr. Harishankar and Ms. Manila. Please, request you both to please come on stage. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. It was a very, very knowledgeable and an interactive session. Very insightful. Very clear, very insightful. Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. May request Mr. Shripati to please come on stage and present a memento to Mr. Shashidhar Shetty, President KASSIA. Shashidhar sir, request you to please come on stage and accept this memento as a token of gratitude from us. Thank you so much for the event, for gracing this occasion. Let's give him a huge round of applause. May I request request Mr. Ulagian, DGM Sydney, to please come on stage and present a memento to Mr. Rajgopal. So thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Let's give Mr. Rajgopal a huge round of applause.